It's time for the Barbacoa challenge. I must be blindfolded. Okay, I'm ready. Orange string. Next. Oh, here comes the next one. Oh, I think that's a Coke. Let's cut some of this with some onions. No doubt about it, Big Red. Did I win? This was the one, the perfect match. Barbacoa and Big Red. I'm Rayo, taco journalist and native Texas. We're on a Texas-sized road trip with Laredo Taco Company. And today, we're in the Alamo City, San Antonio, Texas. We're gonna talk with my amiga, Stephanie Guerra with Puro Pinche to explore the vibe of the city, including a tasting at Isla Street Brewing, one of the first Mexican-American owned breweries in the state. We'll also be taking a step back in time by visiting Texas's only uniseco World Heritage Site, the San Antonio Missions. But first, Barbacoa and Big Red, made right here. Hey, Steph.
Hey, Mano. Good morning. You ready for some barbacoa tacos?
Hey, when in San Antonio. Order 42. Order 42. You know, some people say breaking bread, but I say tearing into a tortilla.
I like pico de gallo on my barbacoa taco. And then since I can never choose green or red salsa, I got them both.
Nice. When you think about barbacoa, I always think the weekends, buy it by the pound, and it's great to feed your family. What's your tradition of eating barbacoa or like here living in San Antonio?
Barbacoa and Big Red is a huge deal in San Antonio.
Here we go.
Salud.
Yes. I do feel that the barbacoa has a very sweet flavor to it.
Yeah.
And so I think like that's why it works.
It complements
You
very
know, it
well.
totally complements it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people don't know what barbacoa is.
Right.
Even when I was growing up as a kid, I was like, oh, this is great tasting meat.
I never knew what it was.
And until you know that it's actually the head of the cow. You could take it right off the cheek, you know? So it is cheek meat, right?
Yeah.
So not only barbacoa is it a style, but it's once it's cooked, it's steamed, it's barbacoa.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It's really fascinating to learn about the history of barbacoa and especially just how long it's been around, you know, and how long it's been a Texas staple.
Yeah. And why do you think barbacoa is such a Texas tradition?
Because Texas used to be Mexico.
That's true. Michael.
Mondo.
Great
pleasure.
Great to meet you.
San Antonio Missions National Historical Park has 4 separate mission sites. And so we're currently at Mission San Jose. Now, this mission was founded in 1720. Spain starts to move into this area and they start establishing missions. They brought the indigenous population in, converted them to Catholicism, taught them Spanish, taught them a trade, and then they became Spanish citizens. This is the granary, and this was used to house all the food. Squash, corn, beans. The thick walls were a passive way to keep their food cooler in these really hot temperatures.
Texas is hot.
It's hot. This is a functional mill. This was a big time saver for the people that lived here because the women that lived in the missions, it was their job to grind the corn.
That's where we have flour tortillas too.
Exactly.
Right.
You look at the food culture here in San Antonio, actually comes from this combination of the two cultures here. This Tejano culture, and it's very unique to South Texas. You don't find that in a lot of other places. You find that in the food, you find that in architecture, you see that all over.
And even to northern Mexico.
Yep.
You know, I'm from El Paso and I grew up with flour tortillas too.
The National Park Service, we have a mission which is to preserve natural and cultural resources, not only for this generation, but for generations to come. And we think there's a lot of great lessons that can be learned. And at the same time, it's also a way that we honor the people here by not forgetting that history.
Yeah. When we come to San Antonio, we gotta keep it real. We gotta keep it puro pinche.
That's right.
And you are puro pinche.
I am technically Puro Pinche, yes.
So tell me,
Most
what
people
is that?
call me that now instead of my real name.
Yeah.
So it's a slang phrase. It can be taken a lot of ways,
Yeah.
you know, but at the heart of it, puro means real, right?
Yeah.
And just keeping it real, real fun is what I like to say. You know, it's a fill in the blank. Puro Pinche tacos, Puro Pinche LTC, you know, like it's a really fun way to describe things going on. Born and raised in San Antonio, I grew up, you know, on the south side, west side, different parts of town where there's a lot of Mexican-American history, but I didn't get to see a lot of the blending of our cultures in San Antonio on mainstream news. So I just started promoting events that I knew local people were having, turned into a website, event calendar, and it's really just a fun way of getting the word out in San Antonio and South Texas about what's going on here, and especially with my Mexican-American culture and bringing that to the forefront. People just use it to have a lot of fun and get really excited about things. So I love the way it brings the culture together. Puro Pinche party, you know, that's what you see everywhere, and especially when it comes to food and beer and culture.
Right. That's cool.
We're the only 100% Mexican-American owned brewery in Texas. That's a badge of honor for us to say, hey, this is not only just the beer, it's our work ethic, it's our culture, and we want to make sure it's all done with intent and purpose. The last thing we wanted to do was just make beer and hand it off to somebody else.
I always felt that, you know, I didn't want anybody to tell me how our beer should taste or what it should have in there.
Craft brewing is predominantly white. What does it mean for you as a Mexican American to do this right here, right now?
We just wanted to draw that line in the sand and say, hey, like, before someone sells us our culture, this is what you're gonna be about. You know, we're not just jalapenos and limes and beach beer, you know, like we're chamoy, we're tamarindo, we're pan dulce, you know, we're Salina, we're Emilio, you know.
Your tacos.
Tacos, yes, absolutely.
A lot of tacos.
Yeah, a lot of tacos, right?
Our grandfather would walk us to our great-grandmother's house. Like, that's how much Isla Street means to us. Like, on the way back, he'd buy us a Big Red. Now, I know it's a very iconic Texas soda, but we just grew up with it, so it's home for us. And I love seeing everybody else's reactions, you know, because as we put these beers out, you know, we connect with people and say, hey, I grew up the same way.
Yeah,
you know, and you can't get more iconic San Antonio than Barbacoa and Big Red. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Barbacoa tacos right here.
Yeah, barbacoa. What does barbacoa go really well with?
Now I know you guys didn't come to San Antonio trying to eat a barbacoa taco without some Big Red. So we make this beer out of that iconic Texas soda, Big Red. Yeah. It's rated R. Rated R.
Hey, that's a good roll. And with that, let's have a toast with this Rojo beer made right here. Now that's a Big Red. This makes me really happy.
There's so much going on in San Antonio right now, and I love being a part of being able to tell the whole world about it, and I'm so glad that Laredo Taco Company, you know, is here. It's a big part of South Texas, but being able to show off, you know, Barbacoa and Big Red here in San Antonio, I think that's a favorite. Now we are tapping into mainstream media.
Right.
We're becoming a part of mainstream culture.
Well, here's to San Antonio, made right here.
Cheers, salud.
San Antonio, a city with deep Texas history and culture. And you show your traditions through your food, your people, and your vibe. It was great to experience everything you had to offer, from the historic missions, the sabores at Isla Street Brewing, and the barbacoa at Laredo Taco Company, made right here.